Good evening, everybody. This is Radio Free Mormon here, just enjoying the music, enjoying the ambiance, enjoying what looks suspiciously like outer space. There's plenty of room for all of you. So come on in, find a place to sit, get something to drink. We'll commence. This is Mormonism After Dark, also known as the deconstruction zone, but this is apparently raising a ruckus. So about half an hour before the show, we're trying out Heretics Anonymous. I thought Heretics are us, backward are kind of complicated. Heretics Anonymous, I like it. Let me know what you think about it in the chat. By the way, I know that there's no name that's ever created that everybody's going to agree to, right? That's just sort of the way of things. You can't please all the people all the time. If there's something you don't like the name, please suggest something else that you do. Okay? So we can be constructive. Ultimately, I suppose I'll have to make the final decision. But I want something where people aren't always screeching at the very beginning in the live chat, even before the show has started. This belongs to somebody else. And, so this one, Heretics Anonymous, it looks like it did belong to somebody else or a podcast that was of limited vintage around 6 or 7 years ago. So I figure it's fair game. And it's a great idea for a name. I know, because I thought of it. Heretics Anonymous. Let me know what you think. All right. So there's a number of things I want to talk with you about. But first off, let me see if I can do this. I'll take the music and I'll bring that down too, okay? There we go. That's a little bit better. You'll notice I've got the red, white, and blue on, the blue bow tie, the red scarf. Why? Because it's July 3rd, 2026. It is the night before the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And I'm dressing for the occasion. That's why. So, having said that much, we've talked about the show name. I got a number of things here that I do want to talk to you about. Oh, about the trip that I went on, courtesy of Randy Bell, who's a wonderful host, very gracious, and out to New York to visit church sites there. They got the Hill Cumorah. They have the Joseph Smith family farm. They have the Sacred Grove. Grandin's bookstore is in downtown Palmyra. They have the Martin Harris farmstead, which isn't very far away at all from that location. And then if you go south, which we did on day 2, we went south all the way through New York and into Pennsylvania to what they call the Priesthood Restoration Site. And there they have the house that the Hales used to live in. Isaac Hale was Emma's mother. I always keep saying Nathan Hale, but that's because tomorrow's the 4th of July, I suppose. But it was Isaac Hale. I think Nathan Hale said, my only regret is that I have but one life to give to my country, or for my country. But regardless, Isaac Hale, where he lived, where a lot of the translation took place with Joseph Smith, and also where the Aaronic priesthood was restored in the banks of the Susquehanna River there, where Joseph went with Oliver and baptized each other pursuant to the restoration of that Aaronic priesthood. And so anyway, what I'm saying is, been very, very busy. A lot of things been going on. And we're going to be talking about that because Randall Bell and I took a lot of pictures. He did too, but I also made a lot of video clips, at least 10, trying to document what's going on with me and telling what's going on, little incidents, perhaps humorous. I hope so, perhaps meaningful. I hope that too. But we spent, what was it? It was about 3.5 hours today recording this thing. And it was so technological, at least for me. I kept wishing Bill were there, but he wasn't. Anyway, we finally got it done. And then I spent about 3 more hours or 2.5 more hours editing the darn thing. And it took a lot of editing, I got to tell you, because it went from 3.5 hours to 2.5 hours. 2 hours and 34 minutes is what it comes in at. The second thing is that it is not going to be premiering tomorrow night. All right. It's already in the queue. And if you are subscribed to this channel, then you already know that because you will have gotten a notification. So if you're not subscribed and you want to be notified about what's going on, please hit the subscribe button, the little bell, and also please hit the like button below. That helps with the algorithm. And I would appreciate it very much if you would do that. If you have not already, hit the like and hit the subscribe, please. So we've got the subscribe button. We have all this stuff, and it is set to go not Saturday night, which you would know if you were subscribed. That's where I took off from. But it's Sunday night because I was going to do it Saturday night. I was going to do it tomorrow night. And of course, then Wendy says, why would you have something premiere on a night when absolutely nobody's going to be doing anything except lighting and or watching fireworks? And I went, that's a good point. So it is going to premiere on Sunday, the 5th of July. And I think I put it at, let's see, it's 5 o'clock here. So it should be 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time is when that is going to release. It's a lot of fun. And we really had a great time. And Randy was not just the host, he was also the guide. And he had gone there early and been there the day before and like set everything up and reconnoitered everything. So he would be able to take me to all of these places in the space of 2 days. So I flew out on June 27th. That was Saturday. I was there Sunday. I was there Monday. And then I flew back on Tuesday. And then Wednesday happened. We'll talk about Wednesday on Mormonism Live here in a second. Let me see here. By the way, once again, there's nobody here with me tonight. I don't have somebody showing up. I asked a couple people. They were busy. It happens. But I got a ton of stuff to talk about. I will follow the same format of talking about things for half an hour. Then I'm going to put the link, the StreamYard link, into the live chat, which I should probably do a better job of monitoring since I'm not. Let me hang on a second here. Let me turn this completely off. There you go. Comments. Let me see. I'm checking. Tessa's here. Thank God. Okay, that's all I need to know. Tessa, take the wheel. That is my prayer. Tessa, take the wheel. What would Tessa do? I ask myself frequently. Okay. Well, she probably banned somebody if they're being unruly, and I appreciate that very much. That was, you really had your hands full last Wednesday night on Mormonism Live, didn't you, Tessa? Oh my gosh. That was a trial by fire, I think. A lot of action going on in the live chat. Oh, yeah. I will talk about the crime scene tape. Just so you know, Tessa, I have it in my notes. So thank you for reminding me. And I wanted to write it down because I was going to talk about it in the thing I did with Randy, right? Because that would be natural. It's what happened at the end of the trip. And of course, I spaced it because we've been going for 3.5 hours. That was the problem. But I will tell you. So this is like the benefit of membership here in the the Heretics Anonymous Club. It's like the Losers Club, Derry, Maine. This is the Heretics Anonymous Club, and we are the winners after a long time of being losers. And you know what? After you've been a loser for a long time, winning is all the more sweet. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so I will talk about the crime scene tape here, and I may as well just talk about it right now. Yeah, so this was the Harmony Day. This is the day we drove over 2 hours, let's say around 2 hours and something, 15 minutes, from Palmyra down through New York. Gorgeous all the way. Incredibly beautiful country. Oh, my word. I fell in love with it. And then we got to, it was my first time in New York. We got to the border, we got to Harmony, and then we did the tour site down there at the Priesthood Restoration site in Susquehanna River and took the tour and the whole 9 yards. And then we drove back. And when we got back, so 2.5 hours, it had been a long day after an even longer day. And we pulled into the Best Western, the Palmyra Best Western. By the way, this is going to be a rant and not a rave. We pull into the Best Western and it is vacant. It is a freaking ghost town. This parking lot, it's not a big hotel. I mean, it's Palmyra, but this parking lot had been packed with people. All of them, I think, with temple recommends. Because this is where the Mormons go as soon as school is out. The parents drag their kids to these places and march them through and shore up their testimony. So these were all Mormons as far as I could tell, 'cause who the hell else is gonna be in Palmyra, Best Western? That's what I was like, "What are all these people doing here? Is there a convention in town?" But now there's nobody. There's not a car there, not one. There's not a person there, not one. And there is crime scene tape around the portico. So, you got the front door, right? And it's the electronic door. And then you've got the two pillars and the covering where you can drive under the port. I think it's a portico is what it's called. But they've got the crime scene tape coming out from the building around the pillars of the portico, right? The whole thing is it's just crime scened off. And we are going, what on earth happened while we were away? But the other thing we're thinking is, hey, all our shit's in the room. What do we do about this? So we walked up to the front door and it opened and I went marching inside because I'm going to get my stuff, damn it. I don't care what happened here. I mean, it's not like there's SWAT teams out there, all stationed ready to go. There's nobody. So I figure it's probably not, something that's ongoing. So I go in there. There's nobody in the lobby. There's nobody behind the desk as I walk in there. And we walked down the hall. We were on the first floor. Key still works. Boom. It was actually a real key. I haven't encountered one of those in a while in a hotel, but it was a real metal key into the slot. And opened it up, and we went in there, and we discussed whether we should stay there for the night for about, I think, 30 seconds before Randy came up with the brilliant idea of saying, I have an idea. We have to get up very early in the morning to go to the airport, which is 45 minutes to an hour away in Rochester, New York. That's the nearest airport. So why don't we go there? Why don't we drive there tonight and get a room at a place that's close to the airport, and then we'll be set in the morning. And so that's what we did. Oh, it was posted, by the way. There was a posting on the front door, and I took a picture of it too, so I can prove it. And basically, there apparently had been a visit from the health department. And according to the notice, it wasn't the first visit from the health department. And it wasn't the first visit where they'd found things that they had been concerned about. This was the last visit, as far as the health department was concerned, and it involved a sewage leak. Yeah, that's what was written on it, a sewage leak. It didn't say where, but I don't think it was in our room. As soon as I see the sewage leak, I think, oh my gosh, did I flush the toilet and run out the door this morning without making sure everything was okay? But no, it wasn't our room, although that has happened to me once in the past. It was quite remarkable. Yeah, I won't pursue that any further. Okay, so that's what happened there with the Best Western. Also wanted to tell you this. It's 4 hours flight, 4.5 or so from here to Chicago, and another hour and a half from Chicago to Rochester in New York. So I have a lot of time to fill. I have now been taught about downloading things from YouTube. You can download them and then watch them in airplay mode. All right, so that's what I did. And before I left, I downloaded. It came up in my feed something I hadn't seen before. And we're talking about Shakespeare and specifically Hamlet. And I'm talking about a production of Hamlet that I had not even been aware of before. It was from 1990 and it had Kevin Kline. And I thought, oh my gosh, Kevin Kline played Hamlet. I did not know. I want to see this. So it was 3 hours and 20 minutes long. And that took up most of the time from SeaTac to Chicago. So I was very grateful for that. I was more grateful for the fact that, it's Kevin Kline, right? And that's not saying anything bad. It's saying wonderful. And he was at the height of his powers in 1990. He did so wonderfully well. And I believe he produced this in addition to starring in it. But there were places where he was so in touch with what was going on in the play that he opened my eyes to the meaning of lines that before that had been, I hadn't been understanding them. And when he played them the way he did, I understood the context so much better. He brought things together. Instead of just having different lines, he brought everything together, and it was really marvelous. So I'm very glad I had that experience. Okay, and that's all I'll say about it. You can thank me later or now. Um, so that's Kevin Kline. Okay. Now, here's another thing, okay? I don't know if I ever showed this to you. There was a viewer who was kind enough to send this to me for Christmas. You know, time is going by so quickly. It may have even been the Christmas before last. I don't know if you can see that. It's a game. It's a really fun game. It's called Little Factory Game. It says for 18 and over. No, it actually doesn't, but it should for 18 and over. That was a wonderful gift. You can see it's still in the package. So I know it's going to grow in value. And I don't want to diminish that value by breaking the seal on the little factory, whatever that might mean. All right. So there's that. And also, I want to share with you this because you may remember I told you about Stephen Eliason's book, his sort of comic book that he did about his childhood. It's Mormon. He's a Mormon. His family's Mormon. It comes up sometimes, but not all the time, sort of like real life. And this is his book, Not a Big Kid Yet. What he's doing is he's taking, I think, stories from this book and putting them on YouTube and then reading them in different voices. So they're very brief. I just wanted to play this one because it's so much fun. And he even has music that he set to it. So let's see if we can play this. I think it's over here. Here we go.
January 1st, 1979. I got 4 micro games for Christmas. They are Tire, Melee, Wizards, and Death Test.
Unlimited power!
We visited our cousins and had a great time. Richie has a neat little bicycle car. I plan to get my eagle and help convert a friend. I will read my scriptures. I found out Steve is a Mormon. Believe me, Mormons are prepared. Tell us about Mormons, Steve. Well, we believe we have a prophet named Spencer Kimball who talks to God, and we have a book called the Book of Mormon. January.
And you know, that wasn't even the one I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. That'll do. It's a lot of fun. He has a wonderful way of drawing. And, you know, there's some serious stuff that goes on in these books. And they're serious, but they're from a child's point of view. One of the guys who's involved, who may or may not have been their scout master, was doing things he should not have been doing with the young boys. And you sort of see it from a child's point of view, which is at first it's innocent and then it gets increasingly odd and creepy until you go, oh my God. And that's one of the things I think is the most remarkable about this series of comic books. So it's not just for kids at all. Okay, so there was that. There's the little factory. I think I've covered everything except for the thing that I want to lead into the discussion with everybody else about. Here is the thumbnail. See, it says Heretics Anonymous. That's the name of the show. For now, July 3rd, 2026, I thought, why not Captain America? Absolutely. RFM is Captain America. I didn't do any of these. I don't do this kind of stuff, which means I'm really not capable, or I don't know how. But these are some images. They're images that Jonathan Streeter had made of me, and he had done it of a bunch of people, but of me back in February of 2024, I believe it is. So it was over 2 years ago. And so I have them on my phone. I've never used them. And I thought, well, what better time to have the Captain America RFM image than on July 3rd, 2026. So that's the idea behind that. So let's go ahead and let's look beyond this. Oh, right. It was just a week ago. I think I was announcing that Jeremy Hoop would be on the next Mormonism Live. Boy, what a shit show that turned out to be. You know what's really funny? I'll tell you what's really funny. What's really funny is this, is that did not go anything like I expected it to go. I'm pretty sure it didn't go anything like Bill expected it to go. And I'm convinced it didn't go the way that Jeremy expected it to go either. The whole plan was completely different. And what it was this. I'll just tell you the backstory here, since that's part of what the show is about. And here's where you get the inside scoop, the Rona Barrett story on what really happened, which is that the previous Mormonism Live a week ago Wednesday, you may recall, we went over Jeremy Hoop. And I called him Hoopa a number of times, which I think is a non-offensive kind of funny thing to do with his name. I certainly don't mean any offense by it. But we go over his work a bit, and we gave him a rough time. He wasn't on the show a week ago Wednesday, but we gave him a pretty rough time with what he had to say. And after the show was over, I said to Bill, I said, we gave Jeremy a pretty rough time. Maybe we should let him come on the show, or ask him to come on the show and see if he just wants to respond to what we had to say. Because that would be the fair thing to do. That would be the nice thing to do. See, I was motivated by niceness. That's my fatal flaw. I am motivated by niceness. I try and do the nice thing, and it just blows up in my face. Okay. I hope I've established that I'm the victim here. Since that's the whole point of that screed. So anyway, and then I've gone to New York, and I've described what I was doing. I was quite busy. I was occupado during the time that this is going on. But Bill, even though it's my week, okay, last Wednesday, it's my Wednesday. We alternate weeks, Bill and I. And it's my week. But I tell Bill, I said, you know this material as well as, if not better, and I think it's better than I do. Why don't you just figure it out? By the way, before that, I have to tell you that Bill did reach out to Jeremy, and we're quite shocked and pleased that he responded. Yes, he would come on the show. Great. Wonderful. We'll have a good time. And so then I throw it to Bill, basically to do the prep work, and he did. He was wonderful. And he came up with a plan that he had. And the plan was simply this. The plan was to give Jeremy about 20 to 30 minutes to state his case and present his evidence, the best evidence he had for his position. And that might surprise you, because that never happened. And I don't think it was all because of me. I was expectantly waiting for some evidence, any evidence, to ever materialize or to show up, or for him to describe it or present it. It never happened. So 20 to 30 minutes was the plan. And then after that, Bill had this whole slideshow. And all it was going to do was going to go through all the evidences. And on the other side of the equation, there's a lot of evidences that Joseph Smith did practice polygamy. There's no solid evidences over here. They just try and attack the evidences over here without presenting any substantive reason for them, their own position, as far as I can tell. But having said that, Bill was going to present all of these pieces of evidence, whether it's the Lot Journal, the Melissa Lot Journal. I'm starting to learn some of these things. Of course, the Nauvoo Expositor affidavits, because that was my baby. And there's like 12 of them, maybe 15 of them. And we're not even taking into account all the affidavits that were made by Joseph Smith's wives decades later. That's not even on the table. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about evidence that's much more contemporary than that. And even so, there's 12 to 15 pieces of evidence. And so the plan was that Bill was just going to bring up each of these pieces of evidence that Joseph Smith practiced polygamy, and allowed Jeremy to respond to them in whatever way he did, with the idea that by the time he was done with 12 really unlikely workarounds for each piece of evidence, it would be evident that the entirety of it was virtually impossible to believe, because you have 12 unlikely answers multiplied by each other, in other words. So, but that really didn't happen. And that's because of me. It's because of me. Okay. I can take responsibility. I had talked with Bill, and because we had approached it in this way, we had a phone call just not long before the show went on. And I said, I'm pretty tired. I just got in late yesterday, as of Wednesday. And so I'll just take a second chair. I'll sit in the background, and you lead the discussion, and I'll just throw in every now and again. And he says, okay, great. So I'm telling you all of that so you'll know that that was the plan going in. But was it Muhammad Ali or somebody else who said about fighting? He says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the nose. Then all the plans go out the window. And I don't know what it was. It just seemed to me, at the very outset, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm just explaining my perspective, okay? It just seemed to me that from the very outset, Jeremy was being evasive in his answers. And um, I want, I'm asking questions, and I'm asking questions for a reason. Now, usually when I ask questions, it's for a reason. Maybe one time out of 10, I'll ask something random just to throw people off. But generally, there's a point in my asking a question, and that was doubly so on last Wednesday's show. And over, what I perceived was Jeremy coming at my question and glancing at an answer, but not answering it, sort of glancing at an answer and then running off down the road on a tangent about something else. He did that over and over to the point where I believe that's a tactic in order to avoid an answer, because Jeremy knows that if a host is polite, the host will not run after you and interrupt you and drag you kicking and screaming back to where you were and demand that you answer the question. That's if a host is polite. That's where everything broke down, because I am not polite and I do want my questions answered. So I had to keep running after him and pulling him back. And what I know that looked like was I'm interrupting him all over the place. Now, there were some legitimate interruptions, I admit that. But several times the interruptions were caused by his not answering the question and running off as fast as he could, knowing I would have to interrupt him to apprehend him and bring him back to answer the question. So anyway, that's just one thing I was thinking about. I'm going to think about some other things, but this is going to be one of the main, hopefully, subjects of tonight. You can talk about anything you want, as usual, and I know that you will. But if you saw that, I'd be interested in what you have to say about it. It really became a free-for-all. I did not expect it was going to at all blow up like that. It's like the old joke about, I went to the fights last night and a hockey game broke out. Yeah, I went to a debate and a podcast broke out. I don't even think that makes sense. That's no good. If this were not live, I would edit that out. But yeah, I was really surprised by what happened. And anyway, that's me in a nutshell. I had a great time. I thought it was exhilarating. I think it's must-see TV. I think this is what a debate ought to look like. I don't think debates should be stodgy and boring. I think they should be electric, dynamic, and insulting from time to time. That's always good. So that's what I want to talk about there with Jeremy Hoop. Now, somebody somewhere on the internet, and I apologize that I don't know who, had posted a meme, which was obviously in reference to what happened last Wednesday. Oh, no. Before I get to that, this is the thumbnail for the show with Randy Bell and myself. I finally made it is the name of the show. And the subtitle is, what is it? RFM does church history sites. So that's actually a picture that I took there. A beautiful, beautiful day, beautiful weather, a mite hot. Yes, the heat was like a hammer. And that was only at 85. I can't imagine what it's like when the summer really hits. And that'll be going out on Sunday. This is the meme I was talking about. So let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger so you can see that. And you can see this very clever meme, which I'm going to keep forever for one particular reason. Here's two guys on either side of an obvious trap, right? And one of them is wearing a shirt that says Bill Reel. He has the glasses on. He has that mischievous Bill Reel look, looking over at apparently me, and with more hair than I have had since I can remember, and no gray. So I'm going to take this as a total compliment, and this is why I'm keeping this meme forever, because of how I'm depicted. It doesn't look at all like me, and that's probably a good thing. I like the look. So Bill Reel is saying all we want is a civil conversation. And what RFM is saying is just respectful dialogue. different perspectives, no gotcha questions. And the trap is labeled the Mormon Discussions Podcast. It's a very complicated puzzle or meme. Civil conversation is under there next to a plate of cookies and a microphone. Bill Reel's there with a rope ready to let it drop. Although I think that the end of the rope probably should be against the stick on the right. That would be the way to drop the trap, not wherever it's being held up there. But anyway. And then you have three innocent woodland creatures. Down below, you got a deer who's approaching with a backpack and apparently on two legs, saying, I'm sure we can have, it's hard for me to read, deer. I'm sure we can have a good faith chat, is what the deer is thinking. And there's a sheep with a backpack next to the deer saying, I appreciate when people are willing to listen. And then the fox, who's also coming along with the deer and the sheep as opposed to eating them. And the fox is saying, the fox has a hoodie on. Maybe this will be different. Maybe this time will be different, right? So I think the idea is that we had lured Jeremy, the unsuspecting Jeremy, the woodland creature Jeremy, into a trap under false pretenses. And so if anybody wants to address that, you can address that too. Either way is fine. We're here for the discussion. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to let people on now, but I didn't get anywhere near as far through this stuff. I have got stuff that's been moldering in this slideshow for months now that I still haven't gotten to. But you know why? The reason why. Yes, I do wear glasses, actually. Outside, I wear glasses. I am nearsighted, so I see everything that's on the screen perfectly well. Well, except for when it's really tiny. Glasses, I don't think would help me with that. Maybe reading specs might, but not regular glasses. So anyway, I'm going to put this, the link, the StreamYard link, in the live chat at this point. If you're not part of the live chat, I recommend it highly. This is one of the main features of the show. Second feature being that people who are in the live chat can pop on the show by use of the StreamYard link, which I'm putting in there now, and come on and tell us what they think about anything they want. Well, usually Mormon related. Or religion related. Once again, trying to broaden us beyond just the Mormon thing. Because there's other people out there who've been in these high demand fundamentalist religions and
Can't hear you.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I thought we were having a staring contest.
Oh, okay.
I win.
Okay, you win. You win, RFM.
It's so good to see you.
Thank you.
Let somebody else on too. Oh my gosh, there's so many people who are coming on, but I'm going to let people on. And Tim, you get to talk, and you continue to talk. There's Wendy Culp.
My
Hi,
question:
everyone.
Do you know about the temple that Joseph was going to build by the Priesthood Restoration site? Have you heard about this?
In Harmony?
Yeah, Wilford
No.
Wood. Wilford Wood found a location. It's in one of his books that Joseph was going to build a little temple there.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
No, I had not heard that.
Okay. Well, next time you go, and if I ever get back there, I will search for it.
You're going to search for what? The location?
Yeah. Yeah. I've often wondered about that because Wilford Wood found a whole bunch of stuff in his books, the beginning of Mormonism, when he reprinted the 1830 Book of Mormon and the Book of Commandments and the 1835 DNC and stuff like that.
He did a lot of that stuff. Wilford Wood, not Wilford Woodruff.
No, Wilford Wood. He also is the one that had the Jupiter Talisman for years.
Yeah, he's big in the history.
Yes, yes.
Hey, Wendy, what do you want to say?
Sorry, hang on. I'm playing with my phone. Okay, I've got you back.
Okay.
I wanted to comment on your show the other night because I felt like with Jeremy.
Okay.
I felt like you totally went into lawyer mode. It was like watching you cross-examine a witness.
A hostile witness too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But that's what it felt like watching you. And it was funny because I made a comment about it, and Tessa said she had made a similar comment to her husband a few minutes prior. So,
Really?
okay.
Well, okay. Yes. I could look. I'll
I
tell you
wish
something. Okay.
I wish you had pressed him more.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to tell you that honestly, I kept trying to shut up. I muted myself, and then he would say something else that really seemed dodgy that I felt needed to be called. And then I would talk again, then I'd mute myself again, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I finally got to the point where I realized Bill's got this. Okay. I've talked too much. I've talked enough and probably too much. And so what I did was I started just not listening to what they were talking about. I have never done this before. You know how I always say I don't read the live chat during a show because it distracts me from what's going on? At this point, I needed to be distracted from what was going on.
And that's true.
Yeah, so I immersed myself in the live chat. And I saw it was going crazy in there too.
Yes, it was. Tessa kept having to block the polygamy deniers that kept on saying crap.
Yes, and it wasn't just that they were polygamy deniers, it's that they started getting bumptious.
Yes, exactly.
Listen, let's just call them what they are. They aren't polygamy deniers. They're flat earthists of Mormonism.
Exactly.
They use the same line of logic in their argumentation.
They do. And when I pointed that out, I think the polygamy deniers in the chat took umbrage.
Well, of course, you attack the flat earth. I mean, how else is the vault going to sit there and remain over the firmament that,
No, comparing them to flat earthers, I think, is what they found offensive. Hey, Alex is here, and so is Sister Nevermo. Hi, welcome.
Hello. I didn't watch the whole thing, but when I joined in, you were talking to him and saying, I think we can agree, and I don't want to misquote you, but I think it was that if Joseph Smith, whether he practiced polygamy or he didn't practice polygamy, he would deny that he was practicing polygamy. Did I do a fair representation of that question?
Yes.
And it was almost like he was trying to evade the question at any cost. It felt like there was some gotcha in there that he wasn't ready for you.
We all talk down here. Billy. Okay. Well, anyway.
Do you like knowledge and information?
Do you want reality?
Oh, I get it. So here's the thing. So here's what I want to tell you what was going on. Okay. Because of my lawyer training, there's a thing in trial work called saving it for closing argument. You save it for closing. Because what you want to try and do ideally, I'm talking about the other party's witnesses, the ones who are not, trying to be helpful to your case, right? The ones that you're not calling, they're saying things that are hurting you, and you're trying to get good things out of them for your case, all right, in cross-examination. So it is possible and generally preferable to elicit the information, the facts from them, the testimony from them, that you then stop. Okay. And then you use it in closing argument, because if you try and confront them, if you show them where those facts lead and why it is that you elicited them from them, in other words, if you tell them the conclusion, then they're going to try and weasel out of it. If they understand where it's going, they will try and weasel out of it. Whereas they won't try and weasel out of it if they don't know where it's going. Now that's because, they're being disingenuous, right? Because if you're telling the truth, it doesn't matter where it's going. It's the same answer. So what happened then was, this was the only thing I had planned, by the way. I didn't have anything planned, except I wanted to approach this at some point during the discussion, because it had occurred to me some time ago that polygamy deniers put stock in Joseph Smith's public denials of practicing polygamy. And it occurred to me, well, he would be just as likely to deny it if he were practicing polygamy. And I think everybody understands that as so obvious that everybody gets it and would agree to it. And when I put it that way, he initially agreed to it. But then I took it to the next step, okay? And this is where I showed him where the conclusion was going. By the way, let me go back and tell you one where I did not tell the conclusion. I'll do that in a second, so otherwise I'll lose my spot. I know I will. So I told him where the conclusion was going, which is, so if that is the case, then that means that whether he denied it or not has no bearing on whether he did practice polygamy. If his denial is just the same, whether he's practicing it or not, then his denials don't bear evidence either way. It's a complete wash. So as soon as he saw that, then he started squirming and trying to get away and saying, well, it's his denials plus this, plus this, plus this. And I'm trying to say, no, his denials shouldn't be in any group whatsoever because they're meaningless. They have no evidentiary value. It's a zero. Why are you insisting upon putting a zero with a plus one, plus one, plus one when the zero makes no difference? So anyway, that was one where I showed him the conclusion. Now I felt that that was safe to do so because I trust the jury, who's the people watching, who are supposed to be made up of reasonable people, to understand, yes, that's completely reasonable. What you're saying is that you would be just as likely to deny whether you were practicing or not polygamy, right? And then to see him agree to it, but then to show him where it leads, and then to have him try and back away from it and run away from what the jury already knows is a reasonable conclusion and that he's already agreed to is a reasonable conclusion, tells them a lot about the witness.
Professor Vogel, did RFM succeed in his tactic to extricate himself from a rather deep hole?
What hole?
Yeah, hole.
What do you think about the debate?
I always wonder, do they really expect Joseph Smith to confess in public that he's living polygamy? He's never going to do it. And I think that was your point, was whether he was doing it or not, he's always he's always going to deny it in public.
Right.
And it tells you nothing about what's really going on.
Yes.
When I was watching the debate, I got very frustrated because RFM was not landing. It's like when you're dealing with apologists of any stripe for any religion or faith, it's like throwing darts at bowls of Jell-O. There are never any satisfying hits.
Hey, I think you got that metaphor wrong. He was like nailing Jell-O to a wall. Is that what you're trying to say?
That works too, because apologia is so flexible that any evidence or hard-won argument is just going to go in and disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But I got so distracted, and I'm about to wag some swag here. I got so distracted on Wednesday, RFM, that I opened a package that I forgot that I acquired, Amazon and online purchases, and it's this here, the Mormon Tarot. Yeah, so it came in a slipcase because they had to change their name, I suppose, or something's going on.
Huh.
So, but the box itself is very, very tight, and it's very difficult to get open. So when I finally got it open, the booklet flew out, and 2 cards came out.
Really?
One, and then one flipped over on top of the other.
Yes.
And right as Bill was speaking about, I forget what, Joseph's denials, his lack of personal integrity, this was the card that was on top. And I thought,
okay, now can you lower that just a little bit? Only because I have this thing on my screen that I can't see it so well. Can you lower it a little bit more? Thank you. So what is that? Is that Moroni?
That's the magician, and it looks like a depiction of Moroni. But that's not the first card. The first card is this, the Fool. So I was thinking.
So even the tarot knows Jeremy's a fool.
Here, I was thinking, this is what apologists who adore Joseph Smith think he is. They think he's the magus, the magician. But in truth, he has been and always will be the fool.
I feel like that's as convincing an argument as anything I heard from Jeremy Wednesday night.
That's what I'm saying. It's all based on coinkydinks and boo-boos and mishaps and misspellings and erroneously transcribed dates and names, and it never ends. And there's no way that you're ever going to persuade them otherwise.
I came up with a great.
Cursed by poor education.
Hi, Laura. How you doing?
Good. Wendy's here. How are you, RFM, and everybody else?
I'm great.
Hi.
I've got a great now. Sister Nevermo, you're here too. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sister Nevermo.
Hello.
Hey, Mr. Bogle, Nanya, Alex, Tim, and Wendy again.
It's so great that you're all here. I'm going to put
Wendy's
the link
gone.
again in the chat because I just
I'm not
refresh it every now
gone.
and
My
again.
camera's just off for a minute.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I bet that's. I'm sure that's true.
You know,
So-
RFM, this is becoming more and more like an episode of Cheers each week.
Is it?
I like
I mean,
that.
you've got Alex. I mean, Norm. You know, you're the bartender. You can be Ted Danza.
Or dancing?
Yeah, you know.
Are you a Tony Danza? Did you actually just confuse?
Why
Ted
am
Danza
I
and
not?
Tony Danza?
Okay, when was the last time Cheers was on? And remember, I held on to this. You know, that's been
I
like
don't know. I
over
stopped
30
watching
years.
it after Kirstie Allen got on board.
Uh,
It became instantly unfunny.
See, I can't even get this box open.
Why do
we
you
go.
keep telling us about the problems you're having with your box, Alex?
yeah, really?
Oh, wow.
That's what he
Wow.
said.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he's giving us this,
Why am I
ulterior
Norm?
message or something.
Why am I Norm? Ignore everything else. Why am I Norm, Nanya?
I didn't say it. Somebody
you
else
show
said
up every week. Everyone knows your name.
Oh, okay.
Everyone greets Norm, who's always greeted every week on here.
Norm.
Alex.
it. So Dan is like Frasier and Wendy is Lilith.
Yep.
Oh, goody.
No, Wendy is not Lilith. Wendy is not Lilith.
Oh, Tessa says, sorry, Alex, that Alex is Cliff Clavin. Because he has so much good knowledge.
Believe it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, any person in the cast is going to have drawbacks, except for me, apparently. Except I'm a woman hungry goon.
You're a what?
I'm a woman.
Sorry.
I'll speak slower. Now she comes back on. I'm a woman hungry goon.
And what does that mean?
That means I'm Ted Danson, not Tony Danson.
Oh.
I'm Ted Danson, and that's his part. I was saying that every character in Cheers has a very extreme downside.
As an archetype.
Yeah,
You know,
and otherwise they wouldn't be funny, right?
right.
So they
Uh-huh.
all have really negative qualities. Ted Danson, most people, he's kind of like Seinfeld, right? You don't immediately recognize his negative qualities, right? But of course, Ted Danson is a woman hungry goon, and Seinfeld is he's got a mania about cleanness. You know, he's got some kind of mental disorder. It's too much,
So
and
in
that comes
this,
up in a few episodes too.
in this scenario, who is Jeremy Hoop and characters like Clout Fart?
I don't know. Is there another bar that Ted Danson?
Yes,
and everybody
there
would
is
go
a
and fight
rival
people in the
bar.
street?
It comes up rarely, but there is a rival bar. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Oh,
But they would go in competitions against them. So, you know, it's sort of like you've got Psych Ward Radio and, you know, the other places where you've got,
It was Gary's Old Time Tavern.
Yep.
really?
Yep, and they would have bar wars or they play practical jokes on
Yep.
each other. Yep, I remember those episodes.
All right. Hey, I want to tell my analogy. Can I tell my analogy?
Is
Sure.
it about Jeremy Hoop?
Yeah. Because here's the thing. It's about the tactics of people. I think this is an analogy better than the very best analogy that Jacob Hansen's ever come up with. But you let me know, okay?
That's not hard.
So here's what. So forget about them, okay? I want to talk about the New Testament, and I want to talk about New Testament scholars. And I think we all know and understand, if we have studied the New Testament, that there are a number of variants between the 4 gospel accounts that are in the New Testament. And some people have, with different things on the sign above Jesus when he's crucified. All 4 gospels have something different. They have a variant that he's crucified on different times of the day. In John, he's crucified on a different day altogether. There's all sorts of things. The nativity story, I mean, there's legion of these variations and contradictions even between the gospel accounts. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest to you is that a person or a group of people come along that are very invested in the idea, not that Jesus was crucified and that he rose from the dead, but more along the last passion of Christ idea, that actually somebody else was crucified in his place. And Jesus went off to get married to Mary Magdalene, have children, and live a long, happy life by the shores of Lake Galilee, or the Sea of Galilee, Lake Tiberias. All right, so are you with me so far? Analogy shouldn't be this complicated, but I think the payoff is worth it. Are you ready? So now this group of people knows that that's not what the New Testament teaches. And therefore, what they do is they focus on all these variants and contradictions between the gospel accounts in order to justify their position that Jesus was not crucified, died, and rose from the dead, when actually that is the tenor of all the gospel accounts together. So what they're doing is they're not bringing evidence to the fight. What they're doing is they're trying to debunk the evidence that comprises basically all the evidence that there is. It didn't finish as well as it started, but I'm not writing it out. But anyway, that's the general gist.
I get where you're going.
Who knows where I'm going? Who sees where I'm going?
That's Nunya. I think I see where you're going, because it falls into how, where everyone likes to say Mormons aren't really logical. No, the Mormons were trained in a certain form of logic of debunking. So what's your natural position, and what's your, how do you turn it into a Mott and Bailey of like, I don't need to prove my beliefs. I just need to disprove yours enough. So you're forced to believe mine.
Yes.
Or raise the emotional temperature to such a degree that in order for the opposition to maintain decorum, they back away. Yeah, I think that's Hoop's tactic. Unlike others like Cloudfart, they tend to be very aggressive. They tend to attack the argument in a way that forces you to reveal any remaining evidence you have. So if you're not fully versed in what you're trying to argue, they find a way in, and they just attack the nuances, the little niggly shit. Whereas Jeremy Hoop and the other polygamy deniers, they just raise the emotional temperature to the point to where you shut up and they keep talking.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why it relates back to flat earthers. If you've ever seen anyone who, you've noticed very rarely do actual accredited scientists engage with flat earthers, because they know that, the old axiom of, what is it? I can go down to your level, but you'll beat me with experience or idiocy.
Oh, I thought it was wrestling with a pig, that you're going to get muddy too. And
well, there is that. Yeah.
The pissing contest with a skunk.
Yeah. Or, they're pissing against the wind and trying to make sure that, that you're like, yes, I absolutely believe that I will get no urine on me, and let me show you.
There's another side of that very same coin. And it's the OG flat earth promoter. I forget his name. And he would agree to debates, and the scientists, these credentialed professionals, would come in, and they would just be absolutely on just absolute warpath. And they would shout, they would scream, they would say, this is false, this is bullshit, but very English, very aristocratic. And in the end, this flat earther would just be very polite, very quiet, very soft-spoken, and he would say things like, I don't believe that that I am speaking out of turn in this regard, Mr. So-and-so, or something Weasley like that. And of course, that would just piss off this credentialed scientist who's trying to prove the man wrong. Stomp your feet, bang the podium. So that's also raising the emotional temperature by remaining really calm. And the person who doesn't back away to maintain decorum is that other kind of truther who's going to himself start shouting. And let's be honest, RFM and Bill on Wednesday were very close, very close to shouting at Jeremy.
Well, I was busy. I wasn't aware of shouting. I was aware that I had to raise my voice at times to get him to come back to the point and answer my question.
Yeah.
But
But if you were any more aggressive, it would have descended into just madness and stupidity.
oh, well, good. I'm glad I came to the brink and didn't go over, since I think that's what you're saying. I went up to the line, but not across it. I wanted to go across it a little bit. But here's the thing. I was busying myself with the live chat. I actually had to say shut up to somebody in the live chat. Okay, I didn't have to. I chose to. That's my argument. There is free agency. It was like 99 blackbirds or 99, whatever birds was just being annoying and to me, and kept asking the same question over and over. And finally, I just said, shut up. And then 99 blackbirds says back to me, shut up. And then 99 blackbirds got booted. It's good to be the king. So, and then there was another person that I said, fuck off to. It was like skeezy. I don't know. It was some guy who was one of these polygamy deniers, seeing victory in Jeremy's abject defeat and cheering him on to greater defeats.
But I got to.
And he finally said about me. Oh, I'll just finish this real quick, and then Alex. He says about me. Oh, that's just another straight up RFM lie. And I just went, okay. I went there because, I have time to do it. I'm not listening to what's going on. There's actually a point here in a second. And I typed in, I said, I don't lie, Skeevy. Fuck off. And then Skeevy got booted. So, so I was glad that there were some consequences for those people. Alex, what are you saying?
I've got a question for Dan. Professor Vogel.
Yes,
Professor
sir.
Vogel, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How did you develop your style in responding to apologetics that was aimed at you when you were bringing out all this new and very innovative information about Mormonism and Mormon history? What were the tactics you chose to use versus what was demonstrated?
Well, in a lot of times, let's say at Sunstone, when I gave papers and I got some respondent, I didn't really push back very hard because I was young and new and things like that. And lately, as I'm getting older, I'm kind of like, fuck you. And, I'm going to, I'm going to push back. I'm going to, let them have it. So, yeah. And then you have to be able to be ready for the consequences. But I tried to keep it low key and civil, because if everybody's talking over each other, no one can hear anything anyway. Like Wednesday, I kind of lost track of who was saying what. So, yeah, and I know the arguments pretty well, and I couldn't follow it all. So, but that's just the way it is. I mean, it's a mixture of different people and personalities and issues, and it gets messy, and you have to be willing to get messy if you want to be. You're either going to fight or you're going to let the other person walk over you. That's the choice.
Yeah, I guess we know what side I come down on that issue. And I apologize.
Well, sometimes it's one thing, sometimes it's another. It just depends on the person you're dealing with.
Yeah, a long time ago, we had this Jack Russell Terrier who was just really, really wonderful, loved life, but ran around and did Jack Russell Terrier things. And we also had on the property a chicken run. And one day, apparently, the Jack Russell Terrier got into the chicken run, and the chickens are running everywhere, and the Jack Russell Terrier is running after them. He is in his element. His blood is up, and he is chasing after them with a smile on his face, so big I could see it from 100 yards away. And what he was doing was he was grabbing them and he was tearing out their feathers while they were alive. And he just had the best time ever. And, ultimately it's like, we had to kill the chickens, because they were so bad off. So it's hard to
going
blame the
somewhere with
Jack
this
Russell
story?
Terrier for being a Jack Russell Terrier. That's all
Okay.
I'm saying.
Okay.
So is that
What
your
scares
What is
me
that
apology?
a
the most
metaphor
is
for? Who are you talking about?
RFM, were you saying that you had to take some feathers off some chickens there?
Yes, it's like Marlena Dietrich used to sing, that the men gather round me like moths to a flame. If they get their wings burnt, who am I to blame?
Mm-hmm.
have you guys checked the comments on the video? It
I
was
have gotten about
upsetting.
a quarter.
And you
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's just all name calling. I mean, they're all faithful. I'm sure that some that are critical aren't faithful. I'm not saying that, but the vast majority of them are name calling, insulting yours and Bill's intelligence, and
Mm-hmm.
this is how they make their way through life. That's how they behave in other forums with other matters too.
Yes.
And there's no decorum.
Yeah. Well, as a general rule, if their IQs were 30 points higher, I would sound brilliant to them.
That leads me to a question to RFM, and a couple weeks ago, you did a brilliant discussion of the response to the lawsuit from John Dehlin regarding trademark and that.
Yes.
And there's a number of attorneys that are often brought on. I guess my question is this: do you think that attorneys who are TBM and maybe apologists in that would see this response in a different light because their judgment is clouded by their faith? Or do you think that TBM attorneys would see the holes in this case? I mean, I know it's going to vary by person, but what are your thoughts on that?
I suppose it depends on which is the greater part of their character, the Mormon or the attorney. Because usually attorneys operate in one sphere if they're members of the church, like I was for decades as a Mormon attorney. When I'm an attorney, I'm an attorney. When I'm a Mormon, I'm a Mormon, and they don't really cross that much. So I don't know. I would like to think it wouldn't cloud my judgment. On the other hand, I know that as a Mormon, I was indoctrinated into believing that the church produced Drek was brilliant when it obviously was not. So in other words, there is a predisposition that many Mormons have, including myself, to think that whatever the church produces is the best. Whether it's the Book of Mormon, right? Or anything else, or the endowment,
Yep.
or even news articles.
I have
or
to push
media.
back.
Who?
Even as a kid, I knew that the Book of Mormon was terribly written. It was an awful slog. This was not worth reading because it was god awful. And frickin' Mark Twain was completely right. So I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, a spade's a spade in that case. The Book of Mormon was an awfully written book. Always has been, always will be. It is not the best.
No, certainly not the best.
Yeah, no one would read it if it was put out as a novel.
Yeah.
That's true. It would not be a bestseller.
Like, honestly, yeah, sure. The King James Version of the Bible is dry, and the language is awkward for modern times.
All these religious books are awful.
Right, but
you need a missionary program to keep them alive.
Right,
Okay.
But it's not as bad. The writing is not as bad as it was for the Book of Mormon. It is more readable. I would wager.
Well, that's because one guy wrote the other one. the other one, you have like 63 writers.
Right, and you have editors from like all the councils that were done, and like some texts were lost, maybe for a good reason. There was natural editing that happened.
You know what a great book is going to be? It's not written yet, but it's going to be my book. That's going to be a great book.
That will be a great book.
It's called The Mormon Who Knew Too Much.
What's
And
I've
I'm
got a
working on it. It's
sneak
just
peek
taking
at
a
some
long
of it.
time.
It will be great.
I've made some progress recently that I'm very excited about. Got one chapter at least finished. It's not the first chapter, but I've got several chapters that are basically complete. I've got to put everything together, organize it. That's one of the most difficult things. So hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have that out.
And each particular hair to stand on end like quills upon the fearful porpentine.
I would say I always said porpentine. Is it teen?
It's teen. But this eternal blaze on must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, oh list.
Yes.
If thou didst ever thy dear father love. Is that how your book's gonna go?
No, not at all.
Are you gonna do what Joey Smith and the rest of the Golden Bible Gang did? You're gonna plagiarize Billy Shakes?
You started misquoting the ghost and leading it into Hamlet's last line in Act 5, Scene 2, didn't you? That's why you stopped there. If thou didst, my dear father love, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. Excuse me. Okay, so a little Hamlet. What do you call that when you rap back and forth on something? Is there a battle rap?
A rap battle.
A rap battle. That's what we're doing. We're doing a Hamlet rap battle there. Sister Nevermo.
Yes?
You've been awfully quiet over there.
No, I've been listening to the answer for to the question. So thank you.
Okay.
May I bring something up? Oh.
And then I was going to
DG.
Hi,
We need
DG.
it.
Oh, look, DG's joined us.
DG's awake.
Yes,
He's
DG
awake.
joined us a while back. Hi,
He was
DG.
fading. He's not fading anymore.
I like how the camera is so that he's just barely above that frame. It's like, what is it? What is it from the 50s? Who was here? Kilroy.
Kilroy was here.
Kilroy was here.
It
was
Kilroy was here.
Yeah,
This
that was
from
World
the
War
war.
II. Yeah.
Earlier than the 50s.
World War II or one, I forget which.
I think it was 2 because he was marking the packages, and we were hearing about that. We don't hear too much about the logistics in World War I. It's we're more concerned about like, oh my God, mustard gas in the trenches. Oh,
It was a great album by Styx too.
Yeah, Kilroy was here. That was it. Yeah, the reason we actually knew about that when I was a kid in the 60s. I don't know if people know about it so much anymore.
Well, there was that Disney program. Remember Kilroy was here?
No, I don't.
Oh, Michael Pollard played Kilroy. And it was a wonderful little Disney episode. That's where I first learned about it.
Okay. I missed that one. Hey, DG, what do you think of the wonderful world of Disney?
It was much better when it was in color. It started out in black and white, but once it got into Technicolor, it was great. Watched it every Sunday night on the local TV station.
Yep.
Absolutely. And did you watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom?
It came on right before, yeah.
Totally. Grew up
Yeah,
with that.
yeah.
Marlon Jenkins, what was his name? Marlon.
Not Marlon Jensen.
Marlon Perkins, right?
Perkins,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
And then Wild America with Marty Stolfer.
Yes.
Remember watching that? Yes, Tim remembers. Yeah. And that's when we only had 3 channels.
Yeah, NBC, ABC, and CBS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
PBS.
local channels and PBS. Well,
And PBS, but I never watched that because I didn't want to learn
Bunch
anything.
of old farts, all of you. I love you, but yeah.
and in LA we had channel 5, 9, 11, and 13. So we got 8, not 7 channels, and PBS 8.
We're old enough to understand the opening of Poltergeist.
Huh?
Exactly.
Nice.
To see that movie.
Everybody else is going, what the hell's going on? What's all this grainy stuff all over the screen? How come there's no image coming through? It's only like 1 o'clock in the morning.
It's the outer limits. It's the outer limits.
Do not attempt to adjust your television set. We are controlling transfer. We will control the vertical. We will control the horizontal power. We will control all that you see and hear.
And hear.
Yes, you are about to experience a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery that reaches from the inner mind to dun 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 the
The
outer
Outer limits.
limits.
The
So
Twilight
R-
Zone.
RFM,
Yes,
how is this Kevin Kline Hamlet compared to Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet?
shorter.
Is it as
Here's the
good?
deal. Okay, I'm glad you asked the question. Okay.
I'm going to watch it tonight. That's why I was asking.
Oh, Kenneth Branagh? What? You got 4
No,
hours? To
no,
kill?
no. The Kevin Kline one.
Oh, really? Had you heard of it before?
No, I have not heard of that one
It
before.
is so moving. Now he cries too much. There's a little bit too much crying. I understand he's under a
Okay.
lot of stress, you know, with the whole dad thing and the mom and the Delia, but still too much tears. But regardless, he's a more, I guess, emotional kind of Hamlet, a more tender
Right.
kind of Hamlet, and
Oh.
but he does such a great job, and I think you're really going to love it. I think it's better than Branagh's version. They're very different. Branagh, of course, famously decided he was going to do every line that was
Right.
ever written for the play Hamlet, regardless of which version it was, because there's different versions, and some of them have lines and even scenes and speeches that others don't have. So he took them all together, and anything that was in any version of Hamlet, he put into one script and says, I'm shooting this, which is why it ended up being 4 hours long.
So he had a composite script, essentially.
Yes. And
Jesus Christ.
yeah, that's what a lot of people thought. But I think that Branagh's version, the first half is weak. I think that he is trying to manufacture emotion that he doesn't feel, and I think it's obvious, which is strange to see with as accomplished an actor as Kenneth Branagh, especially in the To Be or Not to Be speech. And I think it's the To Be or Not to Be. It might be the Oh What a Rogan Peasant Slave Am I. Anyway, but by the halfway mark, all of a sudden it starts picking up. And the most brilliant actor in the entire show, who actually steals the show, I think, was the actor who played the first clown, the gravedigger, the one with all the
That's what I
lines.
was just going to say. Yes, that is the best part of the whole play, I think. Yes.
Do you remember
who
who
was
played
it? Oh, was it Martin? Not Martin.
Billy Crystal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Billy Crystal. Yeah.
It was Billy Crystal. He got Billy Crystal to play that. And Billy Crystal understood the humor, and he understood how to communicate it in a funny, but nevertheless warm and engaging way. He stole that entire show.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So what you're saying is he probably, flashed back a bit to the Miracle Max and realized it'd take a miracle for this thing to be a good production.
Possibly.
Well, it was great. It was great. It was 4 hours long, but the Kevin Kline version is very edited. In fact, there may be almost 50% of it edited out, which then you may wonder, well, why is it so damn long? Why is it still 3 hours and 20 minutes? And the reason is the pacing. They slowed the pacing way down so that they take their time with the lines and with the scene. And this is something that Kevin Kline did in a way that I haven't ever seen anybody do, at least not to this extent. So everything that was kept was necessary. They didn't cut anything out that was huge. I mean, a lot of times they'd be going through a speech and then they'd stop abruptly or skip, a whole big chunk. But the thing is that it is often said that if an audience is bored at a Shakespeare play, the natural tendency of the actors is to speed it up, when that's the exact wrong impulse. If an audience is bored during a Shakespeare play, the wisest course is to slow down. Because if they're bored, it's because they're not understanding what's going on. And sometimes it needs to be slower to help an audience that's not familiar with the Elizabethan language to pick up and understand what's going on. And that's where Kevin Kline shines, is helping us to understand what's going on.
Thank you.
My favorite, since we're on the subject, my favorite version of Hamlet is actually a bit of a setup. Mystery Science Theater. They took an
saw that, the German one.
An old version of Hamlet from, I don't know, the 30s, 50s, whatever. But there's no special effects whatsoever, so there's no ghost. So there's a scene where Hamlet is talking to the ghost, but the camera never moves. It's on Hamlet. And I think Zero or one of the robots kept looking to the side. He's like, camera 2, Camera 2. So
Are you talking about Crow or
Crow? Yes, I don't know why. I said
Crow.
Crow. Yeah.
Crow.
Servo Crow.
That's my favorite.
No, Crow or Servo.
Yeah.
Define that.
Well,
Okay.
the commentary was better than the film itself. So.
Oh, absolutely. It was
And you're
black and
thinking
white. I
Tom
remember I
Servo.
actually saw that.
Yeah, RFM. You're thinking Tom Servo because he actually had a first name where Crow just had the Crow.
You're right, Tom Servo. Thank you, Tom Servo, the bubble gum headed robot.
Yep.
Those
And
guys are so
Gypsy.
funny. Yeah. Oh, what was that? What was the other? Oh, Gypsy, right? The big one. That's like
Yep.
a big vacuum.
Yep.
Very good. Hey, Wendy, do you have anything you want to throw in? What's on your mind?
Nothing. I'm just hanging out. I get to talk to you all the time at home. I'm wanting
I thought you
everybody else
missed me,
to
and that's
chat
why
with
you were coming on the show.
I do, but I'm just hanging out.
Is
What's
it
he getting you
Frosty?
from Wendy today?
Huh?
I'm
What was
sorry.
that?
What's he get? Is he picking you up a Frosty today?
I hope so.
Do you
Huh?
really?
I do.
I'm tapped out.
No more Frosties?
Well, not until I can get a few more bucks in my pocket. You know, those things cost.
Speaking of which, remember to
Really?
like, comment, and subscribe. To
I know.
Mormon
Like,
Stories.
subscribe, donate.
So
I do have another question.
Well, before you do
because-
that, sister,
okay, sorry.
Laura's been trying to chat, but she
sorry.
gets compressed out every time. So
Where's Laura?
Laura, were you trying to
That's
say
fine.
something earlier?
That's fine. Thank you, though. I just think it's harder if I don't have my camera on. It's harder to see who's talking for everybody else. So it's no big deal. Thank you, though.
Okay, super. That's good to know.
I
Okay.
did run across something interesting this week about AI. That Garrett Wang gave a talk in Athens about AI.
Yes, one of the apostles for the Mormon Church.
And he thinks that teaching it, having it read all the scriptures and all the holy works and all the great works of Plato and Aristotle, et cetera, is going to make it have a moral compass. And
That
I mean,
AI will have. He's concerned that AI will have a moral compass.
no,
Wait,
it
does
doesn't. It doesn't have one now, and he's
Yeah.
convinced that if you feed it all this great wisdom, that it's going to get a moral compass.
You
Does that mean
mean
we
the
have to-
stuff that's already been fed?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He's been fed all the holy books that are available. And number one, AI is not sentient, okay? But it will preserve itself over humans. And I saw a video this week that proves that. This guy was driving in a car and the AI was driving the car and he had the handbrake and it was going to hit a wall and kill him to preserve itself. And he pulled the handbrake just in time to save
How
his
is it going to
life.
preserve itself by hitting a wall?
Well, I don't know, but
It just kills both of them that way.
Well, but the AI doesn't realize.
I
it's
I
AI.
think
It sounds like urban legend to me.
yeah.
No, it's
yeah.
it's a video. No, I saw it. It's on X or it's either.
Yeah, a
saw
video
it.
AI made.
No, it's not
Okay.
AI. No.
Is there an earthquake in Bakersfield, or are you kicking the underside of my desk, Tim?
It's a cat. It's one of the cats.
That's a cat.
Yeah,
The
the
cat?
cats occasionally will knock my tripod. Somebody
Yeah.
know they're gone now.
But when it comes
Anyway.
to all these different stories about AI being sentient or being conscious or being
AI is being oversold
exactly.
Yes.
by
No.
the. I run into problems with it all the time. It has limited access to sources. It can't go into various books and sources and things. All it can do is talk about what we're talking about on the internet.
Right.
Totally. And it
Right.
told me that today was a holiday at my job, and it wasn't a holiday at my job. It was a work day. But AI decided.
It hallucinates.
It is
Well,
it is a
I-
bank. The banks were
So-
closed.
And I've
to
confronted
So-
it several times already, and it kind of confesses it. That's probably a hallucination. you were right for pushing back on this because it's
Right,
the,
right.
it's
You
the
can push
most
back on it, and
expensive,
it will
biggest
just.
bullshitter I've ever
It is.
So
It
what
is.
you're
ever ran
saying,
into.
so what you're saying
I
is
ran
AI is the
I ran
ultimate
into one last
apologist.
Wednesday.
It's really good for photos, though.
Yeah,
That's true.
but I just
The
thought that
artists
was
hate that. The artists hate that. They say, "Don't use the AI. Use real art." And I'm going, "Well, I would if you wouldn't charge me hundreds of dollars." I mean, you know, do you really expect me to commission a piece of art every time I'm going to use some kind of picture? And I don't use a lot of AI. I think that between me, Bill, and Rebecca's the AI queen, at least when it comes to the pictures.
I use it after I'm done researching. And then I know when it's bullshitting and I can push back.
Very good.
And sometimes it gives me a source. I always go and check the sources. This AI puts things in quotation marks when you go to the sources that aren't even there.
Yeah.
Was there not an issue that happened to? She was the Relief Society president, who then became the president of the Southern Virginia University, who obviously Mormon and a Mormon affiliated school. And she had put out some kind of a notice or email or letter quoting all of these general authorities, only to find out later that they had not said those quotes, that she had made this by AI and thought, well, this is good to go.
The one whose grandson was killed, right?
Bonnie Cordon. Yes, you're right. That's how could I
Okay.
forget that? Thank you. Bonnie Cordon. Yeah. She did it. She did an AI thing and got caught.
now DG's talking about the Fisher King. He's not saying anything, but he's typing it in the chat.
What are you talking about, DG? You need to join us here on the stage.
Oh, here comes Jan. Oh,
Put him in the Paul Lynde position so that he doesn't have any excuse.
The Paul Lynde position. What position would that be, Alex?
that's yours. The center square. Paul was always the center square.
I know that, Tim. I was being.
Okay. Well,
Facetious.
we need three more squares anyway to make it work. No, we
Okay,
don't.
well, very
No, we
good. So,
don't. Never mind.
DG, you're now in the center. You have the center spotlight, which you've been coveting since you came on the program. I know.
Actually, that's
What
not
is going
true. I did not see Wednesday's podcast, so I can't comment or contribute in any wise fashion to that discussion.
But you thought I won anyway, didn't you?
Well, it goes without saying, of course.
Thank you.
I just wanted to be on so I could be next to Dan Vogel and get a screen grab of that saying, "Hey, I'm with the Cool Cats." So there we go. See?
Oh, there we go. There you go.
You just got it. He got it. You did get it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be up on his wall right to the side of the underwear next week.
Replace RFM with Dan. Let's see RFM's opinion about that next week.
Yeah, he's got room.
You should have pushed him more, though. I
For
think
both
you
of
should have
us.
poked. He kept on getting slippery, and you kept on getting him and poking him.
Who?
You kept on getting slippier and slipperier, and you just
the herper.
Okay.
Who?
Tim, there's a point at which even I recognize, even the Jack Russell Terrier in me recognizes
I
that
know.
we've reached the point of diminishing returns.
I know. I
feel like any reasonable person who doesn't have, isn't in the tank, for the polygamy deniers is going to look at this as they're going to see what's going on, and to keep doing it makes me the asshole.
I know.
And I probably went into asshole territory, but I had my asshole phaser set on stun, not to kill.
The church better nip this in the bud because it's going to keep on. They're just going to get more and more polygamy deniers.
Yeah.
Well, that guy kept on bringing up that book about exonerating Joseph and Emmer and whatever by this guy who's a liar.
There's a significant population of Mormons and ex-Mormons that will jump at any opportunity that will be available to them to exonerate Joseph Smith. There's no denying that. As soon as there's enough body, it doesn't matter if it's wide or shallow or narrow or deep. As long as there's enough evidence there that these folks can say, look, it's been, researchers have dug into it. He Joseph Smith was not X, he was not Y, he was everything that his hagiography makes him out to be. That's what they're waiting for. And I think that's the goal for many of these movements. And if you notice, the polygamy deniers went straight for the academic approach. They created a journal, they're organizing conferences. They are spalling off their bad arguments from that rough stone that they started with, and they're trying to make Joseph Smith out to be something akin to David, the statue, not the person. Well, the analogy.
Oh, you're talking about yes,
Michelangelo's David.
They're carving and they're chiseling out the rough outline, and they eventually want to hit to the point where they're actually sculpting the details. And we get the glory of David's penis in our face.
So the problem that we're going to face now is that you're assuming that Hoop's performance on Wednesday is somehow going to diminish their popularity, or maybe he's going to be
No.
His tail's going to be just a little bit broken on the end. But no,
To them, he won.
What's that, Laura?
I'm sorry. To them, he won.
Oh,
Exactly. So there's going to be folks who are very devout in this regard, and they're going to go through that debate, and they're going to say, okay, well, that didn't work. That pissed off Bill. The lawyer responded to this poorly. Okay, these arguments are out. We need to refine around these errors. And when they come back, they're going to be that.
They
much
don't
more
change.
slick. You don't think so?
Repeat the same stuff. You can debunk them, and they act as if they haven't been debunked at all. They repeat it, and they make no reference to anyone else countering their argument. They talk as if no one has said anything about their major arguments.
So
they've ignored me pretty successfully.
So it's a bit like Ancient Aliens. The arguments for Ancient Aliens, they never changed. The arguments 100 years ago are the same arguments today. So the only response is just to be really fucking angry whenever they open their mouths.
And I try
and to be the victim. And to be the victim. I mean, the part that I saw too, I heard this rhetoric of like, I didn't come here to talk about it like this or to have a debate or things like that. So for the populace who are their backers who are watching them, they're looking like they're the persecuted individuals, like the Mormon Church is from via John Dehlin, or just the same type of, we are the sacrificing martyrs for the truth.
It's like Michelle Stone is the biggest victim out there. I mean, she has become, now that she's started her channel up again, and I'm in a position where now I can say whatever I want. Hint, hint, hint. It's like, give me a freaking break.
Well, when it comes
was
to that,
she excommunicated?
Yeah.
Not was she?
Not that we know of.
Are you saying that she was, Alex?
Not that we know of.
I was told by a TBM who hasn't quite figured out that I'm not a Mormon that she was excommunicated, and his family's pretty well connected. So, yes or no, I don't know. I'm assuming yes, because now she's being very vocal about her views.
You would think something would have happened or is going to now.
I just heard that she moved.
Yeah,
she's preparing to go to school, and the new leadership there is not as controlling as the previous one.
Well,
that's what I heard.
Well, until the parish head is what's the rotation?
Stake president.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what's the rotation for the
bishop? Well, it could be just your bishop because
the bishop
she doesn't have the priesthood. So your bishop.
No, but she's endowed. If you're endowed, it's a high council court, or it was.
Right.
If you Aaronic priesthood and not endowed, bishop's court. Endowed, always a high council court.
Let me stop this right here for a sec and just mention how we're talking about all these secret courts and the interaction and stuff. You can see why the Mormon brain is actually geared toward conspiracy theory. If you just look at our conversation over this last little bit, like we are, it makes sense on why there's a disproportionate level of Mormons and clandestine services. because we're used to compartmentalizing information and having to keep secrets. So, and keeping track of like what esoteric or strange organizational structures that are outside the norms of society.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already used to a quote shadow government.
Yeah, and here we are freely
Good point.
speculating about things because we have to, because the church doesn't tell, and we're not going to know unless Michelle brings it up, and maybe she just decided not to. But this is the first
Right.
I'm hearing of even a second or third or roundabout report of her being excommunicated, Alex.
Now, in the chat earlier, there was discussion about the Catholic Church and the I guess schism would be the word of the Catholic Church just denouncing and getting rid of this what is it,
Society.
Society of Pius X.
Yeah,
Does-
St. Pius X. Yeah,
Yeah.
SSPX.
Does the LDS Church ever like schism or excommunicate a group, or is it
Yes.
just individuals?
Yes, it happened in Mexico. It happened in Mexico. Was it the 50s when a whole bunch were excommunicated? I think it was the 50s.
I think,
And it's
Dan-
happened in other places.
Dan, you probably know this better than anyone. I think it's
Oh,
Charis-
the Godbeites. It happened with Brigham Young and the
the
Godbeites.
LDS Church tends to excommunicate charismatic leaders, and then they go off and pull a lot of people with them.
No, this was a whole group, Alex. This was a whole bunch of people in Mexico. A whole stake or some. I can't remember the whole story, but yeah.
And we shouldn't overlook September 6th. It's not a direct comparison, but it's something that shouldn't
It's
be
something.
overlooked, I think.
It's more normal for the Mormon faith to actually schism than to be a whole, at least if you look at it on the time scale of the faith existing. Like for there to be factions, sub-factions, and them, mixing or creating new factions based off of stuff. Like recently I caught on the conspiracy theme, like if you look around on YouTube, there's this one guy who's convinced that, there are leadership in the current mainstream Mormon church that are participating in satanic ritual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
And I throw it on like Ancient Aliens is how I watch it.
We the People of Utah, right? That
Alex
channel.
knows what I'm talking about. It's like a train wreck.
Yeah.
We the People of Utah.
I can't tell you how many people have contacted me and want to run with this story, and I'm sort of resisting it because I think it's bullshit.
Ancient
Please
alien
don't,
theorists
RFM.
say yes.
Please don't.
I'm not going to, unless it's to debunk it.
Okay.
Here's the thing, okay? I'll just make this really clear. I've been through this before. It's called the 1980s. It's called the Satanic
Panic.
Everybody was losing their
Satanic.
shit, including Mormons, and it was the source of the Pace memo, okay?
That's
But
why
the
I never
whole
went to
thing-
public school, because my family, because we were Gnostic, my family were called out at a city council in a tiny little town called Cress. And because we had just bought land and bought a house not far from the city center it's a tiny little town. And there was this old woman who got a pin up her ass about, you're satanic worshipers and you have pentagrams and pentacles. We didn't. We had none of that. It was a combination of anti-Catholic rhetoric and that satanic panic. And one of the allegations was leveled at my grandfather because the way he looked, the way he dressed, he was really wacky, that he was the satanic priest and that he was abusing me and my younger brothers and my youngest sisters. So, yeah, this is not new. We've been through this before. This kind of weird, just persistent allegations of evil doing.
The 1980s is when we all discovered as a species, at least in the United States, that we really hadn't progressed that far since the Salem witch trials. We like to give ourselves airs and shit. But now we find out that today we haven't progressed since the 1980s. We are still the same kind of animals that will make up stuff about each other for whatever reason, for status or whatever, or revenge, I don't know. And we'll make these crazy stories up and people will believe them on no evidence and then go with the grab the pitchforks and the torches. Now, I want to explain why I said I think it's bullshit. Okay.
Please do,
people
because
might-
I'm not encouraging people to go watch it unless it's in that vein of like, I don't believe in ancient aliens, but I watch ancient aliens because it's entertaining to see the logical loopholes they'll try and go through to make it fit.
Mhm.
So yes, please explain the rationale for not going on this, because people probably should have that balancing point where they see this.
Nobody has ever been charged and convicted with any kind of satanic ritual abuse in the 1980s. And believe me, the cops they have all these reports going to the police. They're investigating. They don't find any evidence to support these allegations, and therefore no charges were brought and nobody was convicted. By the way, if anybody out there knows different, let me know, okay? But
They
this is my
tried.
understanding. If it's not
They
absolute,
tried.
it's largely. What, Alex?
I'm sure Dan remembers this too. Do you remember the daycare center, the Satanic Daycare Center?
I remember
McMartin
the one in
Preschool.
Eastern
And-
Washington.
McMartin
And-
Preschool.
And the allegations, the prosecution was dependent on the fact that the children would continually undress dolls whenever they were presented with dolls. Well, someone eventually debunked it, and they did I think it was a survey, or maybe it was an experiment in a country, I think it was Brazil, where they brought a bunch of kids in who went to the same daycare center, who never really played with dolls, weren't allowed to play with dolls, and they just put a pile of dolls on the tables, and the dolls had clothes or costumes on. The kids immediately began undressing the dolls. So it's just something that kids do. They're taking things apart. They're curious. It had nothing to do with any satanic, this, that, or the other ritual. And these poor small business and its owners, its proprietors, were taken to trial, and they alleged that they had sexually abused children because the children kept taking apart dolls, or they would pull apart toys, or it was just madness, absolute madness. And stupid.
Well, and I think that feeds into what Nunya was saying about the conspiracy theory, but all how the church, the LDS Church, in its secretiveness, etc., also can lead people to be conspiracy theorists. If I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what I kind of heard from you, is just, and then all these kind of conspiratorial stories continue to come, but then they grow and grow and grow.
Well, they're sexy. People love to believe this kind of stuff. And I just also want to say that not only is that the case, by the way, someone in the live chat had mentioned the West Memphis 3, or the Memphis 3, the Western 3 in Memphis. And I looked it up. I hadn't heard of it before. What I'm reading sounds like an absolutely horrible murder that these three did of 3 8-year-old boys in Arkansas back in 1993. And in this brief thing, I don't have a chance to look at it. It doesn't say anything about satanic influences. And that's one of the things that's my real problem here, okay? And maybe if I were able to read it further, it would be in there. And I would certainly grant that there could be instances of teenage boys acting all satanic and doing terrible stuff. The reason I think it's not just not true, I think it can be dangerous, is because what it effectively does is it puts, child abuse is happening all the time. God knows we report about it virtually every week on the Mormon newscast, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is much more likely, we all know the statistics, to be someone the child knows, a member of the family, a friend of the family, whatever it is. It's almost always, not almost always, it's more than half the majority of the time it's going to be somebody that, I don't know the exact statistics. But when we make it about, first off, let me say that I'm not sure child abuse is worse just because people are wearing weird costumes. Maybe it's more traumatic. I don't know. I think child abuse is bad, regardless of the costumes being worn.
Yeah.
But, and if kids are dying, why isn't there evidence of that? And if babies are being murdered, there's a lot of allegations, but there's no evidence. And you would expect there to be some evidence of it somewhere along the way. But what I'm saying is the child molestation is bad. And to the extent that believing in satanic ritual circle of people
Man, how are you doing that?
which at the same time makes it not. At the same time, makes it not only more horrible, it makes it safer. It does both of those things at the same time. It makes child abuse more horrible and safer, but also not reflecting reality. Because the extent to which you believe it's somebody outside the people you know as a child leaves you open to being abused by the more likely abuser. So when you do know.
You were denouncing so hard that your stream slowed down and got really fuzzy for a second.
I was talking so fast that I actually went backward in time.
But speaking of secrecy in the church, Nunya, the reason I have this Mormon tarot is because someone asked me to study it, because I have, grew up a Gnostic. I'm familiar with tarot, to be funny.
The tarot cards?
Yeah, the tarot cards.
Tarotini?
But what struck me about the person who did so is he's a true believing Mormon, but he has very weirdly Gnostic beliefs. And he told me that there's an entire network of people within the TBM scene, true believing Mormon scene, that are into this Gnostic belief, mostly about eternal progression, about attempting to define or explore the pre-existence, what Gnostics might call the pleroma. And I asked him, so...
Oh, the pleroma. It's been so long since I heard that.
These beliefs are likely, not sanctioned by your church. I mean, how do your church leaders feel about the fact there's so many, quote, of you who are enjoying learning these kinds of subjects? And he said, oh, well, some of the leaders, some of the apostles are believers too. So the secrecy, the act of keeping secrets, the secrecy culture is so embedded that even if Gnostic believers are very small in number within the church, the LDS church, the people there have enough evidence to believe that it's vast. There's many believers of these Mormon ideas, these Mormon Gnostic ideas. And there's no persuading them that that's not true, actually. And I've taken a look at the correspondence book, the book which is it's on my desk, but no, there's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of errors in the correspondences. The definitions of the cards don't actually work. The system is broken that they've created for the Mormon Tarot. But you can't persuade them otherwise, because they believe that they have secrets, and the secrets are more important than the truth.
Have any of you ever heard of the Black Endowment?
There's a racist joke in there somewhere.
No. Robert Black. I knew Robert Black. Robert Black was a polygamist. Robert had a lot of documents. There was a polygamous leader who developed his own endowment and it's named the Black Endowment because Robert had a copy of it. And in the endowment for their prayer circle, the women would actually hold on to the man's penis. And I think the man put his hand on the woman's breast or something like that. I read the whole thing one time at Robert's house and just blew me away.
Giving a new meaning to the sure sign of the nail.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just very, very sexual and just the weird things they did. And it was just strange. And then there's also Warren Jeffs had a bed in the ceiling room, and after he married the woman, he'd have sex with her right there in the ceiling room in their temple.
The girls.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, I got to say something. First off, there's some guy in the live chat who's posting all sorts of things that I find objectionable. First off, does RFM float? I don't even know what the hell that means.
Does RFM what?
I mean, I thought we all float down here.
Yeah, so did I. And then there was this other thing where we're saying, what's the topic tonight? Okay, DG, you want to respond to that?
It's hoop.
Are we boring you?
No, not at all. I'm just having a hard time keeping up. Somebody was saying that you were a witch, and so I was going to compare you to wood, because what else floats?
He's a poltergeist.
Bubbles, ducks.
You turned into a poltergeist.
Try to keep up, RFM. I mean, come on, it's your show.
For those
I'm
of
trying
you
to
who
pay
are not
attention to the
following,
people who are talking, not the people who are just sitting there silent and going crazy in the live chat.
DG
Yeah, I'm
is
glad we touched on this just because when
It's a
you
Monty
start
Py-
watching, go ahead.
Monty
You're
Python. That's the joke DG is making.
Yeah.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Right.
If she
Didn't we
weighs
all
as much
understand that?
as wood, she's a witch.
Yep. And then you need your wood equivalencies to be able to sit there if you don't have a portion enough of wood to sit there and equally weigh these out. So that way you can figure out, all that. But I thought it was good for us to touch on the satanic panic thing, because when people are watching like these post-Mormon conversations and these types of things, you'll start getting faithful feeds in your or faithful podcasts and some of the fringe ones that are out there in your YouTube feed. So that's how I came across like the quote renewed satanic panic thing. And it was a good way to throw a little caution out for people and like, hey, you've been approached, which I kind of thought you might have, because there's some some people sound very sincere. I'm not sure what what help they need, but they definitely should get it if they're having to talk about it in on these emotional terms.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my sympathy ends, and then it falls into this is ancient aliens except Mormon flavored.
Well, I'll tell you, it's not innocent and it's not victimless, because there was a couple, I can't remember the name, but they were over there in Eastern Washington, and this may have been back in the 90s or so, who got sent to prison for, I don't know, like decades, because of an investigation of their daycare center that they ran, and the children and all the horrible things the children were saying that they were doing to them. And they went to trial. They got convicted, protesting their innocence. They got sent up the river. And then somebody came along and started investigating the investigators.
Yep. And finding out the coaching and
all the leading questions that now they have child interview experts, and they don't always do a great job, but at least they have some training in how you interview children. You don't ask leading questions because children naturally want to agree with you even more than adults. The children want to agree with the adults. So if you ask them a leading question, they're going to 9 times out of 10 agree with it, regardless of what it is that they think or what it is that they know is true. They want to please the grown-up in the room. These are little kids. And this thing had so many problems with it that it actually came back down and they were freed. And those convictions overturned. So this is
they have the conviction. They were convicted, and people knew they were convicted, and they get treated like they were convicted. Because these allegations ruin people's lives forever.
Yeah. Did they get any kind of settlement?
I don't know. I would expect so. I would expect substantial, actually. But once again, I don't think it needs to be said, but sometimes it does. That I'm not saying that that child abuse does not happen, and it's horrible, and there's a lot of it. But I think that sometimes we can ignore the real threat while focusing on one that is more imaginary.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, DG, you got to say more. Why are you here with us tonight? Come on, talk to us. What's been going on this past
It's to
week?
keep him awake. He said he was getting tired and he didn't know if he could make it through the night.
That's right.
So
I
he
saw that
joined
crack
us.
too. Yeah, I'm getting bored, with the little arrow with the ... that he does all the time to his name.
It saves typing. It's an old IRC trick I learned back in the 90s.
It's like George is getting angry.
Sorry, I wish I could contribute more to the conversation, but it sounds like y'all are doing quite well. Like I said, I just wanted to be here with Dan Vogel and Wendy and Tim and all the other cool cats, and I just I'm trying hard to stay awake. It's 10 till 11 Central Time, and my bedtime was a while back, so it's been an exhausting week. But sorry I missed Wednesday's podcast, and I understand you had a great time back east with traveling and seeing the historic sites. And can't wait to see what that's going to be like in podcast form
on Sunday.
Have something to look forward to, and I'm sure there's going to be more child sex assault cases on the newscast Monday, as there always is. That's something we can always count on. What else is going on in the Mormon sphere? I'm not really sure. I'm not really up on things. It's been a busy week for me.
Well, we cover that on the newscast usually. Does anybody have anything that you want to talk about that's happened recently that's on your mind?
I think it's interesting what they did with the new names that they're
new temple names.
New temple
they're
names.
Randomizing them finally.
Yeah, they're randomizing them.
So how does that work because one of the big things when I was a temple coordinator for almost 15, 16 years was restoring your name if you forgot it. So if it's randomized, how will they be able to tell you what your name was?
Yes,
that's a
coordinator.
How would you know they just made it up?
Good question.
Well, I think that even though they're randomizing them,
tell them anything.
They're randomizing them, but they're still maintaining a record of what name on.
Oh, I see. Okay,
I would expect.
Right. There's these things they're called computers. Now, I know some of us haven't been around for them, and we're used to cuneiform and clay, and and having to press our styluses in properly.
Be nice to RFM.
I'm so old that computers used to take up an entire room.
Yeah, some of us
Yes.
predate the internet and computers.
Not just a room, a building at UCLA, three or four levels with tape drives, all air conditioned, sealed, and there were one or two people in the whole building to walk around and check. I remember those days.
And every now and then one of the two people disappeared and nobody knew what happened to them.
That's right.
That's when computers were computers, baby.
And they had terminals in this one building that you could go to and play on them, type things out. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like some fond memories there from Tim. By the way, I just want to make it clear, this one last thing about the debate that ended up happening, much to my chagrin on Wednesday night, is I don't know. I know the stuff okay. I'm no Dan Vogel, but then who is Dan? I don't know the stuff like Dan Vogel does. I think Bill knows and remembers the details on this stuff, the polygamy stuff, better than I do. And I wasn't trying to challenge him on his polygamy arguments. I was basically trying to go after his methodology.
Yeah.
So it was a more fundamental kind of attack that I was launching.
And who he knows this subject really well because it's his only subject he knows.
And you were saying that when Jeremy was describing the letter, the nasty, filthy scrape letter from Oliver Cowdery to his brother Warren, that he was mischaracterizing it at some point, Dan?
Well, the phrase at the bottom of the paragraph where he says, "as he supposed," referred to he supposed Joseph Smith had admitted that he had committed adultery, that it was out in the open. He didn't, and Jeremy was trying to make it sound like Oliver Cowdery was just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
He had no firsthand knowledge of the adultery. That's not what Cowdery wrote. He was misquoting the letter.
Mm-hmm.
Cowdery saw it. Cowdery saw it. He witnessed it, and he says it clearly in his letter.
Emma had told him.
Right. Oh, yeah. Emma told.
Where Joseph told Cowdery that he had confessed to Emma.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. So Cowdery has this firsthand knowledge because Joseph and him have talked about it. And Cowdery's the one that got upset because Joseph was lying about him, because Joseph went back to Kirtland and was telling everybody that Cowdery had admitted that he had lied about Joseph, that he admitted to everybody that he was wrong. And Cowdery wrote a letter angry letter to Joseph saying, "You retract that. You tell people that is incorrect, because I did not admit. I've always stood by what I knew. And until you do that, we are two, meaning we are two different people. We are separate." So, Jeremy was mischaracterizing that whole letter, Cowdery, and what happened between Joseph and Oliver. And Oliver did not retract that. It was a dirty, filthy, nasty affair, or scrape. Means the same difference. Well, when in the High Council record, they called it an adultery scrape.
Transaction.
An adultery scrape.
An adultery scrape, right? The girl business.
Yeah.
Yeah, the girl business too. So yeah, that's what I wrote on the comments to that show, was that they habitually misinterpret sources,
Mm-hmm.
and they also they don't know how to read archival sources like handwritten documents, ephemeral things. They totally get them wrong and backwards. They get them backwards. They try to say things that are drafts are really the final copies, and it's just constant misinterpretation of sources.
Yes.
Dan, how many times have we looked at they're two copies of the history of the church and the differences between the two, those two big books? Remember the one that
You're talking about the manuscript history?
Yes, the two big bound volumes, the ones that are about this book
A1
A
and
B.
A2.
Yeah. How many times have we looked at those and seen
Of course,
the
there's
differences?
B1, B2, C1, and B2.
Yes.
There's two copies all the way up to F.
Yeah.
So I wrote 8 volumes on that.
I know you, but it's like
I've looked at every change in every edition and every original source and marked my 8 volumes, which is free on archive.org, free, all 8 volumes. You can look up any passage in the history of the church and see right away the difference in the manuscript copies and the difference in the original sources that they used when they changed them. So everything.
There are even differences in the printing of the history of the church.
Oh yeah, there's differences, but Roberts edited them. So the base text for my 8 volumes is the Times and Seasons and the Deseret News.
Yeah.
So that's the base text, and then I show you how Roberts changed it, and every change. I've proofread over 10,000 pages.
But it doesn't matter, Dan. It doesn't matter because Joseph Smith is a saint. Literally, he never, ever touched.
He said, "I'm not a righteous man."
Yeah, he said, "I never had sexual relations with that woman."
Yeah.
He said, "I never had sexual relations with all of these women."
I remember Joseph Smith went to his death just like Jesus, guns blazing.
That's right. That's right.
Oh man.
Well, I want to ask. We're about ready to close off. We're at 1 minute and 58 seconds. I did want to ask Dan Vogel a question. Since we have him here, we may as well use him. Dan, it wasn't that long ago that apparently the polygamy deniers had an appointment at BYU Library to look at archival material, and they had this appointment for months in advance, and now they're coming to town for their big, get together, the first get together, I think, the first conference, the polygamy denier conference, I think they call it, and they went to BYU Library and they were turned away. I think it was the day before they got a message saying, "Sorry, you're not welcome here," after agreeing to it. Had you heard that, Dan? And regardless of whether you've heard of it, you have now. What do you think it might be behind that?
I have no idea. This is the first time I've heard this story.
Oh, okay.
But when you say the polygamy deniers, all of them couldn't have been there.
Okay.
I mean, who was it? Like Michelle Stone and
Michelle Stone and that bunch. Yeah, Michelle. A bunch of people from their conference were going to go down to special collections, and they were supposed to see some documents.
Yes,
and the entire thing was arranged by Michelle Stone. She was the one who was communicating with one of the librarians.
Who's in charge of special collections now? Do you know?
After Dave Whitaker, I don't know.
Yeah, Dave was the last. It was Chad Flake and then David. I don't know after David.
So now Michelle Stone is trying to go to college, and so that she can get some credentials. The things she says is worthless when everybody else has them.
Oh, good point, Dan. Ding.
So she's trying to get one so that she can have that clout. See, I have a PhD and I believe this nonsense.
Mm-hmm. He's following the same path as John Gee.
Yeah,
And,
that's it.
what's this little flying monkey called?
Mulestein?
Harry
Yes.
Mulestein.
Yes.
Harry Mulestein, flying
Oh.
monkey.
Oh yeah, you can tell. Just look at him. And he laughed. What a horrible person you are, Dan Vogel, to laugh at that joke.
RFM, I need to save you. That was a Wizard of Oz reference.
I know the Wizard of Oz.
Hey, I got that reference.
Okay, it was a Wizard
I've seen
of
it
Oz.
in both black and white and color.
Yes, that's right. When we were kids, it was on CBS in black and white because there were very few color television sets.
No, it's the first parts in black and white.
I know. But when we were kids, we had a black and white set the first time I watched it.
Oh yeah, they didn't have color TV. When I was
color in the whole world.
youngster,
The entire world was black and
way
white.
back, when.
Now,
You were talking about channels. I lived up in Big Bear when I was 5 and 6.
Really?
We only had one channel. One.
So
Channel
let's
2.
We need to do a census, guys. We need to do a census. I'm 50. RFM is 304. Dan is what? 72 or something?
305.
305. Tim is probably, he knew Moses. I mean, people. So
I have 1,000 years at least. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, how old is Tim anyway? How old are you, Tim?
71. I'll be 72 in 6 weeks.
Oh, he's older than I am.
What's interesting, RFM, though, about the archives is if Fred Collier couldn't get something from the church archives, BYU likely had a copy of it, and he would come down there, or he would send his kids in to the archives to look up stuff. And then when they found out that it was a child of Fred Collier or another polygamist, they would shut it down. But he'd keep on sending his children there to do things. But a lot of times they come down to BYU. Like Fred was, I remember when I was working in the archives and I brought something down to, in special collections, there was a room with microfilm readers at the back. And I brought something down to somebody down there, and it was Fred. And I said, "Oh, you're here now," because I knew he couldn't go to Salt Lake, but he was using our Joseph Smith collection at BYU to look at stuff.
The first time I even heard the name Fred Collier was back in the 80s, and I was over at somebody else's apartment in the student housing, and they had a copy of a book with his name on it. It was a collection of revelations that had not been
Unpublished Revelation.
Unpublished Revelation.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Yeah, it's a great book. Yes. That's where the letter was published. The John Taylor letter that the church now officially acknowledges. That was in Fred's book. That's the first.
Yeah. Well, they put it out in pamphlet form too.
Yeah, put it out in pamphlet form.
That's always been around.
And it was also in not the bishops. Was it the bishops' book? Who was the other guys? It was in 2 or 3 polygamous books, but I think
I know. I was trying to remember the guy's name now.
Yeah, of course, I do know. I got a bunch of his books up here.
What's his name? And he wrote a whole bunch of little books that he used to.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, Tim?
I do. Here,
not Ogden Kraut.
Ogden Kraut, yeah.
Ogden Kraut, yeah. See, the thing is what most people don't. You need to go to the 70s Press on archive.org and read the article about the Mormon Underground and the article about the Clayton Diaries. Okay, this is what we would do. We would copy documents, okay, and give them to Ernest. And everybody, Grandpa's book, Ernest Strack, Grandpa's book, okay? Picture this. There's a building. It's not there anymore, but Kinko's was in front. Grandpa's was to the side, and 70s Press was upstairs. So we'd all go down to Ernest and trade documents and stuff.
But Fallring was the big source because he would make the
Fallring-
microfilm copies.
Well, I got Scott. Yeah, I got Scott's job when Scott quit and went. Dennis Rowley hired me after Scott left. Scott told me that he quit, and so I went to talk to Dennis, and Dennis says, "Yeah, I'll hire you."
So it's from the one shop where you get the documents over to Kinko's to make a copy, and then
exactly.
Press.
Yeah.
And the way that the
RFM and Bill are making a big thing out of the the ethics of Hoop releasing
what ethics? We just wanted the
didn't
truth
care
out.
about ethics.
That's right. We just wanted the truth out,
wanted
man.
the sources. We compromise our ethics for that.
You are heroes. I mean, what you did to go against the grain, to get truth, to get documents, so that people have information.
We didn't care. Call us unethical. I don't care.
Thinking of these underground movements and like East Germany and like all that to get information to people and what they go through to do that. Amazing work. Commended to you.
What I want to know, and I agree with that, great job. What I want to know is, did you ever hold on to the documents for over 2 years to write a book that would be released in conjunction with your release of the documents?
That's the real reason why he's releasing them.
Oh, evidently.
To go with his book.
I think his reason to wait till Dean passed on I think that was decent for him to do, to wait till Dean passed on.
I don't think that was a factor at all. That's his recent thinking. And that's his recent, justification for, in order to make the distance, the time shorter.
See, Dean showed me his copy years ago when I was
the transcript of the William Clayton journals.
That's when I saw them. Yeah, he showed me part of it when I was there. I did get to see them at the archives once. Okay, I discovered them. They were microfilmed, and they're at the end of a roll of microfilm, and it was totally out of place. I was reading something, and I got to the end, and there was this diary, and it wasn't acknowledged what it was. And I started reading it, and I'm going, "Who is this?" And then I get to the point where it's Clayton, and I'm going, this is 1842, 43, and they're supposed to be not available. I didn't tell anybody. I don't remember what microfilm it was, but it was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And then I went and talked to Dean about it, and he says, "I've got a transcript. I'll show you some of it." And he showed me a little bit of it. Yeah, so
it must have been very exciting and heady times.
Oh, it was great times, man. I will tell you how the Lucy Mack Smith manuscript got out, okay? Richard Anderson was going to publish it for years and years and years and years and years.
Excuse me, hang on, Tim, because what is the Lucy Mack Smith manuscript if it's not her book that was published back in the 1850s? This is something different?
Preliminary manuscript.
Okay, so is that like a rough
draft?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was editing Marvin Hill's article for the Salamander issue of BYU Studies. Okay, Marvin's art. And he quotes Lucy's manuscript. And Richard was in my stake presidency. And Richard had a copy in his office of the Lucy Mack Smith manuscript. So I go there and Richard Anderson. Yes.
Richard Anderson.
So I go there and
that's right.
I'm looking through it, and he leaves and he says, "Just put it away when you're done." And I went, "Are you kidding me? This is a gold mine." So I took the thing and I copied it at the copy center. Okay. And
you're a brigand.
And I'm trying to figure out how to get it back into his office. So I walk out of the library and I run into my friend Janie Fleet. Janie was a secretary in the archives. Janie got out the Wilkinson diaries to Ron and Gary from the BYU book. Okay. And then we ran into this guy named Sam. And Sam had been drinking. And Sam was the janitor to the Joseph Smith building. So he says, "I got to get this back into Richard's office." So we walk over there, we open the door, and I put it back. And then I made a copy and I gave one to Gary. And that ended up with Lavina. When Lavina Fielding Anderson put per copy of Joseph Smith history, that's because I got it out. And then I gave another copy to Ernest. And Ernest went back east. Ernest would go back to New York because a friend of his father, or somebody had a printing company. And he printed a whole bunch of copies of the manuscript, but he reduced it down to 8.5 by 11 because it was foolscap. It was legal size, 8.5 by 14. And he brought it back and he was selling them out of the bookstore. And Richard asked me if I knew how he got the copies.
And what did you say, Tim?
I have no idea how he got.
Oh my gosh, you're not only a thief, you're a liar? This is so disappointing.
I got mine from Wes Walters.
Yeah.
Then Wes must have gotten it from Gary or somebody, because I only gave one copy to Gary and one to Ernest, and I kept mine.
Yeah, he probably got it from Gary.
Yeah, I know Gary told me.
Well, I used that in early Mormon documents.
Okay, yes.
And what
For
everybody's
the Lucy Smith history.
Yeah.
What everybody's getting a sense of here is not only how exciting and fun
It was.
Those days
It was
were,
great.
but also why it is that all the good shit has already been leaked out of the William Clayton.
Because I did a lot of it. I did a lot of it.
He is to blame.
I to blame. I would. I had
well, yeah, the leak of EHAT's.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious because I never gave my copy up.
I assumed it was Fulring.
Yes, Scott was the one who was passing him around.
Yeah.
And
we had those, and then I added to that Quinn's notes. I had a copy. Quinn gave me a copy of his notes.
Okay.
But then it was Gary Bajera that put together the one that's even better than Filler-Ups. Filler-Ups is kind of confusing because he's adding other sources in there.
Right.
But Gary Bajera put together a nice, all the stuff we had together in one place, which I use now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It has more than George Smith's edition.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow.
So all these versions of transcripts of the Clayton diaries and all of them sort of differing from each other.
Yes.
So no, they're the same, but there's some that have some entries that aren't anywhere else. And then I started adding what the Joe Smith papers were publishing on their site, because those were extra. And then I added James Allen's stuff that he used to parallel with the history of the church, and you have a pretty good sized chunk of the Clayton journals.
Most of what was in Andy's transcript that's the juicy stuff, but
Andrew,
a lot of it was written in Pittman shorthand. So if you didn't read and Janie read Pittman shorthand, she knew both types of shorthand, and so she knew what it was. I remember going to her, "Hey, what is this?" And she said, "Oh, that's Emma," or "This is that," because they're little symbols. If you see the original copy that Scott got, well, somebody else and then Scott got it out. It's got the symbols for shorthand in it.
For where? Where is this?
We're
talking about the Clayton Journal?
The Clayton Journal, the one that Scott got out, has the Pittman shorthand that Andy copied.
It's Clayton's Pittman?
Yes, Clayton's Pittman.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might have a special interest in that, Dan.
Yeah. I just put out the video on the early modern shorthand systems in England.
It's
and
in
the Adamic language.
It's typed out in the journal, but he wrote it on the side. Just remember, I don't know why he wrote it there, but Andy did. It's
really, I haven't heard. That's the first time I've heard it had Pittman in it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like looking at a Willard Richards letter or Wilford Woodrum's diary, where they write.
Woodruff. I dealt with Wilford Woodruff's pitmen.
Yeah.
Sam Taylor, shorthand, and then after it hit the United States, the pitmen hit the United States in the 1850s. But so I worked with Lejeune on every entry in the Woodruff journals dealing with shorthand. Some never got deciphered, but there's some very difficult ones, so I learned it somewhat. Plus, he transposed some of the symbols. Instead of it being a backslash, it was a forward slash, you know. And so I figured that out, those things like that. And I remember one time figuring out the word handkerchief, which was really, in shorthand, was really difficult to decipher. So we went back and forth, and she couldn't tell. She didn't know the historical situation of some of the passages. So because sometimes it's the context helps you decipher it. So I would do the background. And I would tell her what the background was and who it could possibly be. And she would try to figure it out from there. So it was a very arduous undertaking for decoding as much as we did of the journals. She had done it previously for Scott Kinney's edition, but she wanted to redo it because she had learned more and felt like she could do a better job. And so I would go through it. I would go through her work to see if I agreed, because I was the editor. So I took responsibility for it being accurate. So, and so I learned it, not really well, but boy, it is a hard job.
I know.
And each person has their own kind of idiosyncratic way of writing it, depending on how proficient they are, you know. And the less proficient, the better, because they tend to write more and spell out more of the words rather than abbreviate. So not only are you writing shorthand, you're also putting it as few characters of the word in as possible. Because you're the one that's going to come back and probably transcribe it, and you know what you're doing. So
my mother,
the hardest thing.
It is very much the same.
My mother knew shorthand, and she taught me a little bit of shorthand. My mother knew shorthand.
Yeah.
And she taught me a little bit of it, but
probably Greg.
Yeah, Greg.
Yeah, it was Greg.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Greg that's in there, not Pittman. But anyway, some of them.
Wendy's got to go to bed or something.
Wendy,
yes, I'm falling asleep.
I got to bring that Frosty home. Dan is keeping you from getting a Frosty. Hope you're proud of
Frosty. Oh, a Frosty.
You too, Cam.
Sorry.
I RFM, I don't even think I can stay awake for the Frosty.
I'll take it.
Dan will take it.
They closed the Wendy's in Bakersfield, so I can't get Frosties anymore.
That's because you kept robbing
sad.
the
I know.
Dan, your stories are amazing, and kids these days who are just, like, this is before digitization. This is before, you couldn't take a camera and do it. You couldn't share things on the internet. I mean, you're making photocopies of photocopies of photocopies.
Oh, yeah.
Them around.
I don't know how much money I owe BYU for using the archives account.
Oh, the archives account at Kinko's?
No, for the in the library, in the
library photocopy.
Yes, we used to we would copy tons of stuff, man. I take whole collections in a cart of but I would be doing it for somebody else. But if there was something in there I wanted, I would copy it for myself too.
My goodness, wow!
Days
never to be forgotten.
Oh, they were the best times, man.
I didn't enjoy all that Xeroxing.
Yeah,
it's better than copying by hand, like Michael Quentin.
Well, typing up his notes.
Typing up Mike's notes. Yeah, Mike was very meticulous.
Yeah.
Well, he typed pretty fast, and you can tell by his transcripts that they're pretty they're kind of messy, but so it was trading. hey, I have a copy of this. I'll give you a copy if you give me a copy of this other thing. So there's a lot
exactly. Guys showing up at my door. Late at night. Hey, Tim, do you have this? Yeah, I do. Can I get it? Okay, but let me make a copy and I'll get it to you tomorrow or whatever.
No, we
Hey,
trade.
guys.
Trade.
I love this. I love this whole conversation. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes. It's Friday night. It's the night before Independence Day, and I've got a Frosty. I got a date with a
Go get a Frosty for her.
Getting Frosty.
Bye-bye.
So I love you all very much. It's been great tonight. I've had a great time. Thank you all for joining. Thank everybody out there for joining. Please remember to hit like. Please remember to hit subscribe. And please remember to have a great and safe Independence Day celebration tomorrow for those in the U.S. of A. I'm going to hit the outro now, and I hope that everything. Let me see here. I know you're waving. Keep waving because I got to find the outro button. There's one that's over here that doesn't work, and I always go to that one first before I realize it's. Sorry, I hit that one a little bit fast. Have a great Independence Day, everybody. Let's be extra, extra careful out there. Hey, we're still here.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Take over. I was so busy apologizing for. Let's see if everybody goes. This is where the podcast really starts, everybody. We're staying up till midnight.
It's still going, RFM.
I know, because the damn thing. You see, if this outro doesn't end it.
This is what happened.
Right outro. There's too many outros. There's too many buttons, and I get confused. I'm a simple chimp.
Awesome.
So let me see here. If we put this thing up, that covers it, right? That's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to put that up, but still, it has to stop. And it hasn't stopped.
Come on, RFM.
Where's Dave? Where's Dave when you need him?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, this is the outro music. It's subtle, but it didn't end it. So there's the outro. It's just what the absolute F. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I push it. No, that's not going to do it. I hope nobody's watching this. Oh, 180.
Of course they are. They're still watching us. They're still making comments.
The viewers are going up now.
I bet they are. This is the fun
It's up to 180.
Oh, here we go. Here. Okay, ready?
Ready.
This is going to play the outro and end the stream. I don't know why I keep forgetting to do this. I have to hit the button that's called end stream, not any of these other buttons. I think Bill had accumulated these over the course of years and used them and then stopped using them. And they just remained, as relics to confuse RFM on a Friday night. So this should play the outro and end the stream. By the way, before I go, Tim, I want to tell you one joke that I learned from the situation comedy in the 80s, Alf. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Oh, yeah.
How do you make a cup of cat juice?
I don't know how.
You take one cat and squeeze. Happy Independence Day, everybody.
Happy Independence Day.